Hello and good morning. This is the Breville Barista Express model BES870 in brushed stainless. As it's on the photos, it's in very good condition. This was a trade-in unit. One of my customers gave it to me and they upgraded to the next model up. So yeah, the machine works fine. I just did a basic service on it, mainly changing the seals on the boilers and pumps and valves. Done the cleaning cycles, tightened some of the connectors, and yeah, the machine works like new. Looks really good. In this video, I'm going to be testing all the features. I'm going to be making my morning latte. So obviously testing the grinder, the brewing, the steamer, and also we'll be testing the hot water tap as well. This model takes about 5 minutes. Sorry, it takes about 1 minute to warm up. I like to leave it on for 5 minutes just to let everything warm up nicely. So I would turn it on and go maybe brush my teeth or do something else. Let the boiler warm up to temperature. This will also warm up the handle. You can also leave your cups on top. They'll get nice and warm after maybe 10 or 15 minutes, which is good. If you're in a hurry, you can still warm it up. You don't have to wait too long. After it turns on and you can see the buttons light up, you can warm it up very quickly by running a blank shot. So a blank shot means that you run the shot without any coffee in the handle. Let's take this cleaning disc out. I'm going to take this out and I'm going to do the double shot. Put my cup underneath so that my cup can get nice and warm as well. That's the double shot done. If you want, you can do this again. I'm going to try the single shot button for you just to make sure everything works fine. Yeah, so as expected, both buttons work well. They stop on time. The buttons are programmable, so you can always change the length if you want. If you want a longer shot or a shorter shot than the factory setting, you can change that at any time. I'm going to put this away. I'm going to grab a piece of tissue. And I'm going to dry the portafilter. So drain this water out, dry the basket, and then now you can start grinding the coffee. This is the double basket. It takes about 18 grams. Ideally, for espresso, it should be a 2-to-1 ratio. That means you need to get 2 grams into the cup from every gram of ground coffee. So if you've got 18 grams here, you want 36 grams into the cup of liquid espresso. And ideally, that should take 30 seconds to happen. You've got a few settings on the left here on the grind side. These will dictate your shot speed and the strength. Basically, you've got the grind size here that goes from 1 to 18. The grind size will dictate how long or how short your shot is in terms of speed. So a larger grind size will give you a faster flow, a small amount of time in terms of the brew. A smaller grind size will slow it down. It'll give you a longer brew time. You can also program the buttons to give you the brew volume or the shot volume. So this will dictate how long the shot is itself, and the grind size will dictate how long that amount takes, if that makes sense. This will affect the speed, this will affect the overall volume. The amount also can affect your shot. Recommended to keep it at an 18 gram dose and not change that. So try to set it up to a dial position that gives you 18 grams. From my experience, it's about the double quantity on 2 o'clock position, or maybe the single quantity at 12 o'clock position twice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grind the single shot twice, and I'll explain why in a second. So I'm going to measure the input and output with my scale here on the left. I recommend you get a scale just in the first few weeks to learn the machine, to learn what 18 grams looks like, and to learn what 36 grams looks like in terms of the liquid output. Let's try now. I'm doing the single twice instead of the double just once, because this way with the single twice you can reduce the mess, you can control the quantity more accurately, I think, or at least it's less wasteful. If you do the double quantity and then you take out the portafilter, it might be very high up here and it might spill over the sides, whereas the single quantity, you can take it out, measure, you can press the coffee, make space for the next shot, and do the second shot after that. This is what I'm going to do. my first shot. Hopefully it's about 9 grams, and it's 10 grams. So let's reduce that to 1 notch behind. So we want 9 grams times 2, which is 18. That would give us the ideal quantity for this basket. This is the key point here. Once you finish grinding your first dose, make space for the next dose by pressing it lightly with the tamper here. This is the key point to reduce the mess. If you don't do this step, then might as well just do the double method instead of doing the single twice. That's my second dose. grams exactly. So at the grind size number 8, at grind position 11 o'clock, will give you 9 grams per single dose. So if you do that twice, you'll get 18 grams, which is perfect. If you don't have a scale, that's fine. You can still learn how to make coffee by eye. So have a look at the portafilter. Before you press the coffee in, generally it should be level with the basket, with the top side of the basket here. So I haven't pressed it with this tamper yet, but this is what it looks like. And then when I press it, in a perfect world, the silver part of the tamper disappears. So this is like a nice little rule of thumb, is if the coffee is this deep, then you have the correct amount of coffee. So let's give it a try. Try to press it on the counter space, but I don't have any space at the moment doing the video. So I'm just going to do it mid-air, which is fine. As long as you apply even, firm pressure, it should be okay. And just like that, this is the silver part, and it's disappearing when I tamp. So the coffee is basically this deep into the basket. If it's too high, so for example, if I press my hardest and the silver part still shows, then that's too much coffee. And on the other hand, if I press it and the tamper sinks into the basket just over there, then that's too little coffee, obviously. So that's one nice way to know that you have the correct amount of coffee. Make sure it's nice and clean on the edges. Make sure it's even and not wonky to one side or the other. And then lock it in. I'm going to get rid of this water. Now you've got a hot water tap here, just on the right corner. This can be used for long black Americano style coffees. You can use it to brew tea bags. I personally use it to dissolve the sugar at the base of my cup. So I add a little bit of water. And then I add a little bit of sugar. And the water helps the sugar dissolve. If you like to add hazelnut syrup or a sweetener, I recommend you add it before the espresso is brewed. That way you can mix everything nicely and have an even cup of coffee, rather than the base of your coffee tasting really sweet, the last few sips tasting really sweet, which is unpleasant, I think. Make sure my scale is now on 0, because now we're going to be measuring the output. So we measured the input, exactly 18 grams of ground coffee into my double basket. Let's measure the output. I'm going to use the double shot button here. Generally it goes for too long, in my opinion. So the double shot will give you about 50 or 60 mils. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to teach you how to program it. And then that way I can also set up the machine for you to the perfect settings. With my beans, I'm using Aldi medium beans, freshly roasted. Well, generally the Aldi beans are pretty fresh, so I've opened the bag I think a couple weeks ago, so they're not too old. If you use really cheap beans or really old supermarket beans, then they'll be quick, they'll have little crema. Whereas if you go freshly roasted coffees or even Aldi, then you'll get a good result. Just 1 second. Okay, yep, so I've dissolved my sugar, I've reset my scale to 0, and let's measure the output. Hopefully it should take 30 seconds. Hopefully it should give us about 40 grams, let's say. To program any button, it's very easy. You just have to press the program button, then press the button that you want to program, then the machine will start to make coffee. Then press it again when you're happy with the volume. So let's do that. The gauge will move based on the pressure, so if it's a good brew, the pressure should be between 11 and 1 o'clock. So it's at 12 o'clock position now. It's running relatively quickly, so I'll stop it there. That was maybe 15 or 18 seconds. I didn't exactly measure, but just it feels like a bit too quick. And that's 45 grams. I mean, not a bad shot. It was good pressure. It looks good. It has quite a bit of crema. Let me show you. But in a perfect world, I would probably run this a bit slower. I'm not going to do the shot again, just because of time restraints. But very easily, what I would do next is I would reduce the grind size from an 8 to a 6 or a 5. Ideally 5. Let's say 5, and then try again. That should make your coffee more slower. It should make it more of a consistent stream rather than gushing out of the spouts like today. You probably didn't see it from the camera, but it was a bit too quick. You know what? I'm going to quickly do another shot just to show you how easy it is. So I'm going to get rid of this. Going to reduce the size to 6. And then 5. Get rid of the first 3 seconds of grinding because it's the old grind size. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to increase this to 12 because I think it's going to require a quicker... because I think when you reduce the grind size, the grinder slows down a little bit. So I've put this at 12. I'm going to do this twice. I think it should be good. That's my first dose. 8.5 grams, that's fine. A bit of my coffee here. And that's my second dose. I've forgotten to press the coffee down in the first dose, but that's okay. I'm just gonna figure out a way to make it less messy. Get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of these. Yeah, that's alright. So we've got about 17.5 grams. So that looks fine. It doesn't have to be exactly 18. So I'm gonna leave it at these settings and then let's just make a coffee. Same as before, press the tamper, make sure it's level with the silver part, which it is. Lock it in the middle, or just to the left, to the right. I'm gonna get my cup here. I've got some extra coffee that I'm gonna be using for desserts. So I'm gonna use this cup. Let's measure the output. I'm going to use the same programming that I used before. Looks like a better shot altogether. So it's a bit of a higher pressure, a bit more controlled flow, coming a bit more slowly than before. I forgot to time it again, but this looks like a little bit slower than before. And let's measure 40 grams. So a bit less than before, a bit slower than before. I think we're heading to the right track. So that looks like a decent shot. I would leave it there. But if you want it to be a bit more perfect and closer to the target, you can reduce it by one more number and try again. I'm not going to do that. Like I said, I am using my own beans, and if you use different bag of beans or even the same bag, but the same brand but a different age of bean, you might have slightly different results. So I don't want to be chasing a moving target. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it up to you to, once you get the machine, to calibrate the settings as needed. So like I told you, if your coffee is running too quickly, just slow it down by reducing the grind size. If it's running too slowly, speed it up by increasing the grind size. Aim for a 30-second shot for the double quantity. The button now should give you about 40 grams or 35 grams, which is going to be consistent from shot to shot, which is good. One good thing about this machine is that it goes by volume. So it tries to give you the same amount of coffee every time. And like I said, if it's going much longer than 30 seconds brew, you can speed it up and make it closer to 30 seconds by increasing the grind size. If it's going much quicker than 30 seconds, so if it's only taking 15 seconds, then you can slow it down, make it closer to 30 seconds by reducing the grind size. Hopefully that wasn't too overwhelming. But yeah, that's the coffee side of things done. I like to clean it up straight away. So get the portafilter, flop it into the bin, just like that. It falls off really easily. I use a purge function just to clean it up. So basically just press the single or the double shot button. It's gonna use the hot water to clean the group head and the basket. And then give it a good wipe. And a very nice thing for your machine is to get a piece of tissue or a towel and go in the crevices. There's always a little bit of ground coffee left even after you do the cleaning and the flushing. If you go with a piece of tissue, you'll clean the crevices physically, which is very nice for the longevity of your machine. So it prevents build-up of coffee and clogging the flanges here. Alright, enough talking. That's the coffee side. Let's do the milk side of things. So I'm going to fill my milk jug just below the spout line here. If you see this spout curve, just below that by a centimeter, that's where I generally fill for a single cup of coffee. Turn on the steamer. It takes about 10 or 15 seconds to reach the boiler temperature for steam. So just be patient with it. In the meantime, you can go and grab, I don't know, a towel or fill your milk jug. Awesome. Give it another few seconds, it'll get stronger and stronger. Turn it off, position it at an angle towards the edge and close to the surface, and then turn it back on. The closer the tip is to the surface, the more foam you'll be getting. You don't want to hold it near the surface for too long, otherwise it might give you a very thick foam, which is unpleasant for some people. So maybe keep it near the surface for 10 or 15 seconds, and then after that, you can raise the jug to put the tip closer to the, to put the tip deeper in the milk. And then now I'm just spinning the milk in like a tornado fashion, mixing up all the foam, heating it up. And then I'm going to stop it when it's too hot to the touch. Just there. Before you let it cool down, very important, give it a purge, just to clean the inside of any milk. And then now it's going to cool down the boiler. Have a listen. Now the machine is ready to make another coffee. The boiler is back to coffee temperature. Grab a towel, very important, grab a towel and wipe the wand. It's a piece of metal with steam going through it. It gets really hot and the milk will bake on top and it will stick very hard if you don't clean it straight away. So very important to grab a wet towel and scrub. Otherwise it will be harder to clean tomorrow and then it might clog up the tip. So better to do it now. Perfect. This shot of coffee smells amazing and it probably tastes amazing. It tastes pretty good. It could be better by just slowing it down. It has a bit of sourness to it, but that's okay. I'm gonna put this away. I'm gonna knock the jug on the counter to break any big air bubbles. And then swirling it around to mix it up. Do this a few times until the surface is nice and smooth, like wet paint. There you go. That looks really good. I've forgotten how easy it is to do frothing and steaming on this machine. I know it's a bit slower than other brands, but honestly, it just looks so good, and it wasn't a lot of effort to do. Let me show you. Lots of firm, really smooth milk. Looks delicious. I've tried to do a heart, but it looks like a very fat heart for some reason. But yeah, very easy to do latte art on this machine if you've got any barista training, or even with just teaching yourself over a few weeks, you can get really nice latte art. I don't aim to get latte art. I just try whatever I can, and yeah, I get some patterns every now and then. Hope you enjoy this machine. Hope you can make even better coffees than me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Cheers.